Hey everybody, Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures.
Hi.
Well, we thought we'd give you an update on the progress we've made on the trailer, such as it is. Now today is May the 2nd, which is Sunday. And we actually picked up the trailer on Friday, April the 23rd, correct?
Yes.
And of course, we took all day to do that. And we got home, back here around 8 o'clock that night.
Yes.
So, and we didn't do a whole lot on Saturday, of course, because we were sitting in here figuring out how we wanted to do stuff and all that. Now, we do have some stuff done, but most of the week, last week, we spent hunting down materials, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And see, our situation here is we're a ways away from Lowe's and Home Depots and places like that. And the nearest Lowe's is like 25 miles away, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. But that particular Lowe's doesn't seem to have a lot of the stuff that we need.
What we were looking for.
Right. So Deb's been searching.
I spend all my time shopping.
Yeah. Spend all your time shopping, looking for items,
Yes.
and who has what in stock everywhere.
And I actually go ahead and order it, pay for it, and then go pick it up,
right,
because it may not be there if I wait around. So
yeah. Now we're in a small town in southeast Georgia. We're roughly 50, 60 miles south of Savannah,
right,
to give folks an idea of where we are. And we found that most of the materials we need are at Lowe's and Home Depot in Pooler, which is a suburb of Savannah, I would say.
yes,
Yeah.
Time you drive there, get your stuff, eat lunch, drive back. It's a day trip.
You shoot the whole day.
Yeah. Day's gone.
And of course, they do have a Culver's there nearby, and we discovered Culver's hamburgers, and we really like Culver's hamburgers. So yeah.
So it's a win-win.
But anyway, we have got some stuff done, and I'm fixing to show you what stuff we have done so far. And what we started with is the floor.
Yes.
So I'm going to get up here and start walking around and show them what we've done so far. Okay?
Yep.
All right. So we'll give you a good shot here of the floor so far. We have all the floor insulated. Now what we did when we had the trailer had it spec built, we had them raise the doors so that when we put the new flooring down with the 3/4 inch foam board insulation, the new flooring and everything would come out even with the thresholds on the doors. So that's why we had them raise the doors. And of course we also did away with the footwells. We talked about that in the last video. Normally on an 8.5 wide, they will have a 6-inch drop footwell there, and we did away with that because we wanted to have as much level floor space as possible. Now, if you'll recall in the introduction video, I had told them to ask them, I should say, not to try not to put too many screws in the paneling, because it's all going to be coming off anyway, which we've got some of it off right here, of course. We had to utilize some of this already, and we'll talk about that here in just a little bit. And I also asked them to not hang any of the trim. Usually they use like a 3-inch wide strip of plywood trim, 3/8 of an inch thick. And they use that to cover, all of the seams around. And they also run a piece all along the leading edge up here on top and everything to kind of trim everything out. They do it in the corners and stuff, so we asked them not to do that. Now they did leave the trim here for me, and it was laying on the floor, all the trim they normally would have used. And at first I thought, well, I might as well just give that back to them, right?
Right.
That's what we were thinking.
We thought about it very close.
I almost told them we'd just take it back. But then I got thinking, I might be able to utilize this stuff. So this is what we did. We utilized it to do our cross members between each strip of insulation on the floor. Now, the strips, and here's a couple of pieces we had left, and we ended up having to make a few ourselves too, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit because we didn't have enough, but it came real close. This, of course, is 3/8 of an inch thick, and they're about 3 inches wide. Now, when you stack two of those together, that's 3/4 of an inch thick. So what we first did, and I had shot footage of this, but I lost the footage. But what we did first, we went all the way around the trailer, all the way around, and we shot down a a 3/8 inch thick band of that all the way around. Of course, this is covered up here and you can't see it. So first we did one layer like that, and then we figured out how we wanted these cross pieces to be roughly at 16-inch center. They're all on real close to 16-inch center all the way down. Some of them are a little bit less than that, simply because I wanted to add a little bit of strength here and there. So what we would do, we would figure out where they would come out on the center, and then we would measure the distance of what the piece of insulation would need to be, and we go ahead and rip that down to the proper width, lay it up against the back piece, and then go ahead and cut another strip, a cross member, to go in front of it, and then we stair-stepped it out that way rather than nail all of our cross pieces down first, or shoot them I should say. Rather than shoot them all down first, we cut the insulation as we went, but we made a mark along the edge so that we would make sure that these always came out on 16-inch center. And I used a scrap piece to determine how wide my pieces of insulation needed to be. And like I say, I wish I had some footage to show you there. We did shoot it, but we lost it. But it worked out really, really well. And then when we would do the first cross member strip, it's only 3/8 of an inch thick. Then we would come back and cut and put another piece on top, and it would overlap the band over here on the sides. Now what we still have left to do down this side, and we're doing it as we go, now we got to cut little short filler pieces to make that all level, which we will do, of course, when we get to that point. And we did that all along the wall here where you can't see. Now we've got stuff stacked there, but we did that all along the wall there. So that's all level and everything. And of course, when we went to put our first run of decking down, we had a really good nailer all along the edge. And as we were going along, we would seal nooks and crannies with this foam in a spray can. And it's time to open up another can, isn't it?
Yep, looks like it.
So now the decking, we're doing this in thirds, and we had to do it that way because after all, when you take this paneling down, there's only like maybe 2 sheets in the whole thing where you have full use of the full 4-foot width, because of course they have to notch around fender wells and things like that. So what we determined was roughly 32-33 inches wide. Well, we happen to have some pieces that were really right at 32 inches wide that we ended up with that we could cut straight. So we cut our first batch, 3 pieces, 32 inches wide, and then we got more paneling to utilize here. The next run will be a tad wider than that, but you know, we're just making it all work and making it all fit. And of course, we're staggering the cross joints as we go, you know. And now this, where the bed area is going to be right in this area right here, I may have it pieced up a little bit because after all, it's not going to be out in the open where we'll be walking on it, because there's going to be all kinds of things underneath the bed. There's going to be our water tanks, the battery bank will be at the foot of the bed, and yes, it will be where air can flow through, so don't get concerned. And we are going with lithium iron phosphate batteries on this particular setup. You will also notice here I have a double wide strip right here. And the reason why I went ahead and put a double wide strip here is because we're going to have a petition coming out right here, and it's going to come from the curb, from the driver's side wall. It's going to come out roughly 5 feet, and it's going to be 4 feet from the back wall. And of course, this is where the bathroom area is going to be, and the shower is going to be in this corner. It's going to be a 32 by 48, Deb?
Yes, I believe that's
32 by 48 shower pan right here in this corner right here. And then of course the potty will be right next to it, vanity, and a storage tower right here. But keep in mind, this petition wall will come out roughly 5 feet is what it will come out to. And that's another reason why we offset the ceiling fan, which is a max air fan here. We offset it because the wall will stop, you know, roughly right in here. And that way, when it's on and drawing air from the eventual windows that we'll have towards the front of the trailer, you know, it'll have a clear shot to draw air, and it won't be behind the wall over here and possibly disrupt the airflow, and we don't want that, right?
Nope.
Now the insulation that I used here, I wanted this particular one for the floor because this particular one is pretty firm. And you know, right now I'm standing on it, and it doesn't hardly make any indentation whatsoever. And then of course, when we step on the decking right here, this is really nice and firm. And what's nice about these strips, by utilizing these strips being 3-inch wide, that gives a really good foundation for this decking to set on, even though it's only 3/8 of an inch thick. Now this particular insulation is made by DuPont, and most Lowe's carry it, although when we were looking at the Lowe's here, while we were still in Arkansas, we started searching out the Lowe's, the local Lowe's in this area here, and they didn't have this stuff, did they?
Nope.
But it just so happened that the Lowe's in Rogers, Arkansas did, so we didn't want to take a chance on not being able to get it. So we went ahead and bought it in Arkansas before we came out here to southeast Georgia to pick up the trailer and eventually start working on it, because we wanted to make sure that we had this, because this is where we were going to start. Now if you look closely, you'll see that not all of them are face up, and someone might come back and say you put it on upside down in some spots. I had somebody say that on the last build. Remember that?
Yes.
Anyway, just so you'll know, this particular one has a film on both sides. So there you go. And this, like I say, this is a DuPont product. Let me see if I can get over here so you can see it a little bit better. And there's a little bit of the logo right there. But and a lot of people use the pink stuff, which is fantastic too, but I couldn't find any of the pink stuff at the time in the 3/4 inch thick, which is what we wanted to use on the floor. So now what you see right here, this is what we're going to be using on the ceiling. That too we started looking for, and we couldn't find it at any of the local Lowe's here in Georgia at the time. But they had almost to the square inch the amount of material we needed at the Rogers, Arkansas Lowe's. So we bought every square inch they had while we were there and hauled it out here, because our next project will be the ceiling after we finish the floor here. I don't know of anything else we can bring them up to date on. Can you, dear?
Nope, we're just working hard.
Working hard all the time. You know,
where we're staying is been very hospitable. I do want to say that.
Oh yeah, the folks we're staying with here has been fabulous, absolutely fabulous.
We really appreciate the meals and letting us stay here while we're doing the build, and it's been awesome.
Well, yeah, we had ribs last night.
Yeah, they're feeding us too well.
Yeah, they're actually feeding us too well, and you know, it's not helping my figure at all.
No.
You know. And, the whole idea behind this manual labor thing again here is to, you know.
Yeah, but the harder you work, the more you eat. So it's not a winning situation.
It's just a real booger, isn't it? Now I do want to point out one little thing here. I found, now this stuff is 3/4 of an inch thick, and I found, and I figured this out actually on the first build. The best thing to cut this with is my handy dandy little multi-tool here that I bought at Harbor Freight years and years ago. Paid like $35 for it, and it's still going strong. But I found that if you use the Half Moon blade on it here, it cuts it nice and clean, and it doesn't make a mess. You know, you don't have little particles of the foam board floating around everywhere.
Because we're trying to do everything inside the tray.
Yeah, trying to
keep our mess confined.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. However, that particular blade, I don't think is going to work on the 1-inch thick stuff that we'll be utilizing on the ceiling and on the walls here. But we'll see how it goes. Now, we did find some 1-inch insulation at Home Depot, I believe, for the ceiling to start our first run. Yeah. We're going to have 2 layers of insulation on the ceiling. We'll have the first layer will be 1 inch thick to go fit between these metal studs, or metal roof bows, I should say. And then we're going to run 1x3 furring strips across these, and then we're going to put 3/4 inch foam board in between the furring strips, and then of course put our ceiling up. And we'll be showing you how we do that, and I promise I will try not to lose the footage on that. I'll try. Anyway, I don't know what else to say right now other than we're having fun. I mean, it's a little tiring and stuff like that, but we are having fun. And then when we get done at the end of the day, we like to just sit and look at stuff and dream, wouldn't you say?
Yep.
You think we like to dream a little?
Figure out the finished product in our heads.
Yeah. Try to get the finished product all figured out and everything. But, we'll start seeing some more progress. We've got quite a bit of material to get us by so far. And
well, as far as we know right now, we've got enough to finish the floor and enough to finish the ceiling. And
we went ahead and ordered a lot of products from Amazon already. We've already got our water heater in.
Our water tanks.
Our gray and fresh water tanks are here. We still have yet to get like the water pump. We do have the sump pump for the shower, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought
the
we
shower
did.
pan.
Yeah. And yeah, we got the shower pan too. Yeah, well, we needed it because we want to make sure that when we build that petition wall,
That's right.
it's the proper distance out. So I don't know what else to say here.
We will try to keep you updated at least once a week, maybe twice. We'll see.
Yeah,
how
we'll
it
try
works
for
out.
twice. We'll try for twice. But I know that our host here, that is hosting us here, and we'll eventually introduce everyone to them.
Yes, of course.
Of course we will, because they're the ones that bought the red trailer too.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll even do a video about that when we hand the keys to them, a little ways down the line here. But their storage garage is kind of getting full of stuff.
Yeah, we've got to start getting it in here.
Yeah. And get it where it goes.
Yes, where it goes.
So anyway, stay tuned. I know a lot of you have a lot of questions. I know on the insulation, some are going to come in and say you should have insulated it below the floor. Well, we just didn't want to do that, But if that's the way you want to do your build, then by all means, do it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but we just didn't want to have to crawl around underneath. And we would have loved to have went with spray foam insulation, but it's just not in the budget.
No.
Yeah.
So we're doing it the way,
Yeah.
trying to stay within budget.
Yeah. Well, our budget is just whatever we can afford to do when it's time to do it.
That's the budget.
Yeah. So anyway, that's about it for now. We will have better footage for you from this point forward, we promise. But anyway, we're going to let you go for now. And this is Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures. And we always say this, and we always will. We're not camping.
We're living.
Y'all get out there and do some living yourself. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye now.